You're about to see a clip that I made back in 1988. I'm David Hoffman, filmmaker, and this clip was shot in St. Louis, Missouri, one night at the YMCA. My team and I are passing through town. We hear about the YMCA having a group of kids together talking about gangs and violence, particularly violence in the school. Could we film it? Sure. So we step in there, a small crew, and we set up our cameras and we watch what's going on. You're about to see a piece of that. The question being asked is, what causes fights? Now, what's interesting is some of the kids you're about to see look frightened. But you know what? They weren't. I saw and I talked with them, and I knew some of these people really had never expressed themselves. They're like this. You'll watch that. It's not because the cameras are there. It's because expression of feelings is new. That's disturbing to see to me, that people who deal with emotional issues as young people don't have the freedom to just be themselves. And I really admire the YMCA for setting up these places where kids could talk.
Just continue to ask questions and you guys can go ahead and answer. We're just going to shoot while you're doing it. So,
like one of my friends, he goes around just messing with people all day, hitting on girls and stuff. Just terrible.
It's all about respect. Each gang wants their own respect in their own way, in their own territory.
I know, just if you look at them or walk different, you get blamed for stuff, or just someone starts something with you just for the way you walk or look at them or something, or what colors you wear.
Last year, one of my friends were about to get into a fight, and I told him the best thing was to do is just to walk away, and just walk away from him.
Sometimes you get based on what you wear or what teams you wear, or how you do your makeup or whatever. And that's how most fights get started, or else if you're talking stuff or just whatever. So fights get started real easily at my school, just over dumb stuff.
When fight gets started at my school, nothing happened, because I straight up tell them, y'all better squash the violence. It's not right to fight, because y'all fighting over stupid stuff. I say, I'm going to be the first person to get hit up in here. And they don't fight.
I completely agree with what Uriah is saying, but I also think that if you want something to change, you have to be the first one to say, okay, I'm going to make a difference. I'm not going to fight with people. I'm not going to smoke marijuana, and I'm not going to be around people who do smoke marijuana. If you're going to say, well, you shouldn't do that, then don't do it yourself. If you're going to go to other people, if you expect other people to go to adults for your problems, then you need to go to other people for your problems too. You always set an example for your younger generation, and you always have to remember that. And if you want things to change, then you have to make the change. You have to start by changing yourself.
If somebody's doing drugs, I would tell them that it's not good for you and that it's a bad influence on your friends.
I think most fights and nowadays are started as in he said, she said stuff, and that's causing more fights. And I mean, if you don't hear it, then don't say nothing about it. But if you hear it, you don't have to start a fight. You can just confront them with something or just ask them.
If you're going to have a fight, what are you going to accomplish from a fight? You just hitting each other, and you just keep hitting each other. Then once one person falls, the fight's not over. You still haven't accomplished your problem. And if you kill the person, it's still not going to end, because the family is going to get involved, and people are going to still want to be over your back, wanting to beat you to death. So it's really no point of fighting, because it's not going to never end.
Sometimes in the neighborhood, I just recently got into a fight myself over my brother. He went to Quick Trip to go get some crackers, and he come home crying and said 2 Jews jumped him. So I ran out the door. I wasn't thinking. Went looked for him, found him, and so we just beat him up like they did my brother. So sometimes you gotta fight, sometimes you don't. It's just, like I said, society plays a big role on you and where you live. And if you can't avoid it, you have no other way to turn.
I would try to keep your head up. Remember who you are. Stay strong. Don't forget where you came from. Struggle. As hard as it'll be growing up and going through middle school and high school and stuff, just make sure that you know what what your goal is, what you're set out to do. Know that you want to graduate from high school and you want to be different. You don't want to be like everybody else. You want to be the person that stands out in the crowd. Try your hardest you say you want to be a judge, you say you want to be a lawyer. No matter what anyone says, no matter how hard it's going to be, life isn't easy. It has its ups and downs. Stay strong and stay focused, and don't let anything get in your way.
I completely agree with what Uriah said.
Last year, this girl, she came into class crying, and she was a friendly person. She always had friends, and people always wanted to be around her. But she came in class one day and said somebody called her, she was ugly, and she had bumps all over her face. And I was like, well, you know what? People, they're gonna say things about you because either they have a grudge about something at home or they just having a bad day. And I said, well, one of these days you're gonna get credited for one thing that you can do well, and that's gonna be the thing that's gonna count. And this year, she's just the most happiest person in the world. My mom tells me that if you have a problem with somebody about peer pressure, that you just drop the whole thing. And if they just keep bugging you about it, you just wait till the day end and try to talk to that person. And if that person don't want to talk about it, you can easily make yourself a distance away from them. If they just keep getting closer and closer, that's when you bring in somebody who is at a higher level and will break you from that person. And you should always have in mind that you don't have to take that person home with you. You don't have to go sleep with this person, so you shouldn't have to worry about them that much. So you shouldn't have to take it home and be bothered all the time.
I admire the YMCA for doing what they did and for providing these outlets for people to express themselves, very often for the first time. Are we still doing this today? I don't find many places in my community where groups that disagree, groups of individuals, get together and try to talk. I really think that's critical. The partisan divide is so severe that we've lost the ability to communicate with each other and to understand the other guy's point of view. You know, Longfellow once said, and I never forgot this phrase, the way to really understand someone else is to express their point of view sufficiently that they feel you've understood them and that they agree with what you've said. And I really try and do that. I try and express the other guy's point of view in such a way, guy, girl, that she says, yeah, David, you heard me. And that is not easy to do in today's world, as you know, in today's America. So I put this up in part because I think it's interesting to watch these kids from 1988, and in part in support of entities and organizations that try to say, well, let's come together. Let's talk. Don't necessarily have to agree, but we're all one America. At least that's how I see it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being a subscriber. Thank you for being a Patreon supporter. Take care.